Hi, I'm E.D. Lewis, and welcome back to my channel. And let me adjust just a little bit. There, that's a little better, I think. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and a safe Black Friday and safe Thanksgiving. Hold on. There we go. I think that's better. Anyway, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and comment. I'm trying to make this video extremely short because I am dead tired. I am pretty much exhausted after working Black Friday, so I'm basically going to jump right into my review. So, yes, we're doing another nocturnal review. Did I do it last time? I don't remember off the top of my head. It's been a little over a week since I had a video, so, but I want to make sure to get one in because it's been kind of a crazy week. So, I'm reviewing the movie Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which actually, if anyone remembers, and if you saw it, I did review the first book in the series just before Halloween. And that's the only book in the series I've read. I have not read any of the others. But let's just kind of jump right in. So, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark came out last year, 2019, and it was produced by Guillermo del Toro and directed by Andre Ovredel. Ovredel. I'm not really sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I apologize if I butchered that. And of course, it's based off the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark series by Alvin Schwartz, which the film does use a couple of stories from the first book, which is the title of the movie, of course. This movie is very nostalgic and kind of plays off of the whole kind of old-timey horror films and kind of the, old teen horror films, especially kind of 80s-ish in some ways. But the nostalgia goes much further back because it takes place in the 1960s. So, anyway, the film takes place in 1968, to be exact. And, of course, this is the same year that Night of the Living Dead came out, which is actually featured in the film in a drive-in movie scene, which I thought was kind of cool. And, although I don't know how widely distributed it was, I honestly don't know, so, anyway. So it takes place in the small town named Mill Valley, in Pennsylvania, where a group of teenagers named Stella and her two friends Augie and Chuck, they go out for their last Halloween together and play some pranks on a local hotshot bully named Tommy, when they end up meeting a newcomer named Ramon. Now, Ramon, he's just got his car and stuff, and he's just been staying in his car and, traveling about. And he's kind of harassed by the sheriff because I think it's a little bit of a race thing. And also, he's a stranger, and this is a small town, so he's a little suspicious. So, but I think he gives him a hard time for, very inappropriate reasons. Just because he's someone different and he's not, exactly white. He's, kind of Hispanic. So, or Latino, really, is what I really mean. Not really Hispanic, he's Latino. And there's an instant connection between Stella and Ramon. They both are, instantly attracted to one another. And that kind of sets up part of the whole growing up theme that this movie really seems to have, especially with stories, how they change, they can change your life. They can, like it says in the movie, they can hurt and they can heal. Well, there's a bit that goes on in this movie. Anyway, getting back to the plot. So, Stella decides to take Ramon to a local haunted house, the Bellows house. And so not just her and Ramon, but Chuck and Augie go too. While exploring the house, they find an old book of stories by Sarah Bellows, who was kept in the basement by her family, and it was rumored that she committed suicide. So basically, this house is kind of the typical, haunted house that the stereotypical haunted house that every town has. So it's a mansion, and the family was like one of the oldest families to settle in the area. So kind of, I guess, maybe like a founding families. Anyway, um, so anyway, they find this book, and they end up Stella ends up taking it with her, and it's incomplete. So she is looking through it that night on Halloween, and she notices a brand new story. And then she begins to read it, and strange things start happening. More stories keep popping up in the book, and they start becoming reality, affecting those around her in very serious and deadly ways. So I don't want to spoil any more of the film than that for you. But I do want to say that, like I said, it kind of plays on some tropes and stuff of, the classic teen horror kind of. There's a special feature I have not watched it. It's called retro horror, but I mean that definitely, you can just watch the film and see a lot of the retro style and kind of storytelling of it. You get that feel of an older film. So, and not just because of the 60s, but just it's the way the film is presented, how it's written, and how they go about with its style. So, there were a couple problems I had with the film. One of them was the ending. To me, was rather weak, and they left it open for a sequel, which is fine to leave it open for a sequel. But I just thought the ending was a tad weak. They could have had a stronger ending for it and still left it open. But that's my opinion. And another problem I had was the reality of Ramon and his car. It just seemed to me to be a little unbelievable that he could just drive around in this really nice car and just live in his car, traveling from place to place. And it looks so nice, and he looks, rather nice and stuff. He looks actually quite perfect, actually. But, it just doesn't seem believable. But I could just be digging too deeply. And, also, there's a bit of a gross out factor at this film. So, I mean, if in a couple places, and some of it's gross because of how horrific it is, some of the things that happens. But there is this one particular scene, well, there's that one too, but I don't want to talk about that, involving a stew, involving eating some stew, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So, I thought the film was pretty good. I'd only seen, like, maybe one trailer for it on television, so I actually didn't know much about the film except for it was based off scary stories. But Rotten Tomatoes certified as fresh, and I kind of have to agree with them, except for the ending I still think is kind of weak. But other than that, it's pretty good. I'd check it out if I were you. If you've read the scary stories, you'd probably want to check it out. If you haven't, you might, still check it out. I actually thought that it was going to be a kids' horror film. It is not a kids' horror film. It is directed more at teens and adults, and not children. So, yeah. But that's my review for the very gothic horror film, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So check that out. And that's all I have for you for this time. Keep safe out there. Stay spooky. And yeah, that pretty much covers it. So anyway, That's all I got. So I'll see you next time. So bye bye.